said a man don't fold easy. Don't let the cracks be shown. So I learned to carry mountains like they weigh no more than stone. Smile through every losing, nodded through the blame. Told myself that pressure was just another name for fame. As I watched my mother working with her hands split at the seams, she never called it suffering, she just called it dreams. And I swore I'd be unbreakable, swore I'd never bend. Didn't know that kind of promise is where the fractures begin. There's a difference between surviving and being truly alive. But nobody teaches boys how to feel and still survive. That's the price of being strong. You hold it in too long, turn your hurt into a hammer till everything feels wrong. You build your wall so high, even love can't come along. Yeah, that's the price of being strong. I had a friend who laughed too loud, drank like he was bulletproof, said ain't nothing in this world that a little grit can't move. We buried him on a gray sky day, no warning, no goodbye. Turns out silent battles don't always wait to cry. I stood there in that graveyard, wind cutting through my coat. Felt something crack inside me, rise up to my throat. Not a rage, not even sorrow, something raw and clear. The weight of all the I'm fine I'd been carrying for years. Maybe strength ain't iron, maybe it's admitting fear. Maybe it's letting somebody see the weakness you hold dear. Maybe courage isn't fighting every war alone at night. Maybe it's putting down your fists and choosing to be light. 'Cause the price of being strong shouldn't cost your soul, shouldn't mean you suffer quiet while the world takes its toll. If I'm built to last, let it be where I belong. Not just enduring, but learning what's wrong. So I'm laying down the armor, let the silence fall apart. If strength is telling truth, then I'm starting with my heart. I ain't done being a fighter, just fighting a different war. And maybe being strong means I don't hide anymore. I was raised to carry weight, not to question why it's mine. Back straight like a fence post, hard locked behind a line. Be the rock, that's what they told me. Be the calm when storms arise. So I learned to hold the ceiling up, call of being alive. Bills like bricks upon my back, names depending on my pay. Every I got it I ever said took a little more away. I built a life from overtime, promises I'd keep, but nobody sees the cracks in the pillars when they're deep. Strength can look like silence, like never asking why, but even stone will fracture if it's never allowed to cry. This is a house built on shoulders, on nights that never end, on quiet fears I never showed her, on battles I won't defend. I kept the walls from falling, I kept the wolves outside, but who keeps a strong man standing when he's tied inside? My wife says you don't have to hold the sky alone, but I don't know who I am if I'm not the backbone. I measure love and sacrifice in hours, sweat and strength, but love ain't just provision, it's presence in the pain. My boy asks why I'm working late, why I miss the game again. I said someday you'll understand what it means to be a man. But driving home that empty road, radio playing low, I wondered if I'm teaching him the truth he shouldn't know. Maybe strength is sharing burden, not carrying the load. Maybe courage is admitting when you're lost upon the road. Maybe leadership is softer than the armor I've worn. Maybe real foundations are built where truth is born. This is a house built on shoulders, but shoulders can't give way. Even pillars need a moment not to be okay. I don't wanna pass down a legacy of pride, where love feels like a duty and feelings have to hide. So tonight I'll lay the hammer down, let the silence fall apart. Tell them I get scared sometimes, tell them what's in my heart. If this house is gonna stand, let it stand on more than might. Let it stand on honesty and a father learning light. to think strong and silent, teeth clenched, eyes dry, standing tall in every storm, never asking why. But I've seen men collapse inside while looking bulletproof. Strength without reflection ain't the same as true. I've carried pride like sacred ground, protected it from harm. But pride don't hold you at night the way an open heart can warm. There's a bravery and softness that I never understood. Turns out letting people in feels stronger than it should. This is a different kind of strong, not iron, not stone. It's telling someone I was wrong and not standing alone. It's choosing love over ego, even when it feels long. Yeah, this is a different kind of strong. Scars I won, I'll show him how to speak his heart. That's how real men are There's a field behind my memory where old versions of me lie. Young and reckless, fists up high, swearing he'd never cry. Another dressed in quiet rage, teeth tight, jaw set strong. He thought the world was something you could conquer if you're wrong. I buried one who chased applause, needed eyes to feel alive. Bury one who shut down love just to say he survived. Each one wore a different face, each one swore he knew. But growth is just a funeral for someone you outgrew. You don't become a better man without letting one fall. Evolution sounds heroic, but it hurts most of all. These are the graves of the men I used to be. Crosses in the dirt of memory. Each one fought so I could see what strength was meant to be. I didn't lose them, I set them free. Now I stand where they couldn't stand for me. Yeah, these are the graves of the men I used to be. One believed that love was weakness, that control was how you win. He kept his distance from the fire so he wouldn't burn within. But he froze in his own winter, proud and all alone. Didn't know a guarded heart turns colder than a stone. Another thought that anger was the proof that he was real. Spoken thunder, moved like lightning, never learned to kneel. Storms don't build foundations, they just tear the rooftops down. And a man who only shouts will eventually just drown. It takes more than time to change, it takes surrender too. It takes looking at your shadow and saying, I release you. Not in shame, not in regret, but in gratitude for the fight. There were steps along the road that led me to this night. These are the graves of the men I used to be. Buried deep, still part of me. I carry what was worthy, leave behind what couldn't see. Growth ain't clean, it's surgery. It cuts before it sets you free. Yeah, these are the graves of the men I used to be. So if my voice sounds heavier, it's not from chains I keep, it's from walking through my past without losing sleep. I honor who I was, but I don't let him lead. A stronger man was born from every buried seed. I was raised where the winters bite, where the wind cuts clean through bone. Front porch creaking in the dead of night, teaching boys to stand alone. Daddy's shadow on the kitchen wall, tall as judgment, hard as truth. He said the world don't owe you mercy, so don't you beg for proof. First job under factory lights, greasing iron in my veins. Hands turned black before 21, heart already trained for pain. Every punch of that old-time clock felt like carving out my name. You either harden like the steel, or you rust inside the flame. I don't cry where people see, I let it sink below. There's a furnace burning quietly in places they don't go. There's coal in my chest, burning slow, burning deep. It don't blaze for the world to see. It just smolders when I sleep. Every breath tastes like regret, every promise that I kept. Yeah, there's coal in my chest. Loved a woman with patient hands. She traced the cracks in me. Said you carry something heavy, like a past that won't let you be. I tried to lay my armor down, but it's welded to my skin. When you've lived through too much dark, you don't trust the light to win. I've walked through rooms of polished men, with softer voices, cleaner sins. They speak of hope like it's a choice, like it always lets you in. But hope's a risk for men like me. It costs more than we confess. So I trade my faith for discipline, and wear my silence like a vest. If heaven's just a higher ground, I'll climb it step by slow step, with boots still caked in yesterday, and debts I haven't paid yet. I ain't asking to be forgiven, I just wanna understand why strength feels like a burden in the hands of a working man. There's coal in my chest, forged under pressure and time. It don't glitter like a diamond, but it's stronger than shine. Through every loss and test, through every failed request, yeah, there's coal in my chest. When my voice turns to gravel and my body gives its last, let the fire inside me outlive my past. Not pride, not bliss, just burning coal in my chest. It was a Tuesday, nothing special. Rain tapping on the tin, boots by the door, jacket on the chair, same routine I'm living in. But something in the quiet didn't feel the same as before, like the walls were tired of holding all the things I can't ignore. I've been the calm in every crisis, the steady voice in every fall, the one who says don't worry like I don't feel it all. I built a reputation on never letting slip, but even iron fingers eventually lose their grip. There's a difference between control and being truly strong. One keeps the mask in place, the other says when it's wrong. It was a night I stopped pretending I was made of stone. The night I let the silence finally be known. No more I got it, no more standing tall alone. Yeah, that was a night I stopped pretending I was strong. Looked at me across the table, saw something in my face. Not anger, not frustration, just a man out of place. I said I'm tired of carrying what I don't even name. And for the first time in a long while, I didn't feel ashamed. My son was down the hallway, laughing in his sleep, and I thought about the lessons I unconsciously keep. Do I teach him that real courage is never letting go? Or do I show him strength is saying what you know? Maybe freedom starts where pride begins to crack. Maybe healing's found when you stop holding back. Maybe the bravest words a man can ever say or I don't have the answers, but I'm learning anyway. It was a night I stopped pretending I didn't feel the weight. Stop confusing silence with controlling fate. I let the truth come forward without a shield or a tone. Yeah, that was the night I stopped pretending I was stoned. Kept falling steady, but something felt brand new. Not light or not perfect, just honest through and through. And a strength that's built on truth, not just endurance shown. And that was a night I finally came home. Caught my reflection in a diner window, 3 a.m. and nowhere to be. Lines on my face like county roads, all of them back to me. Coffee gone cold in a trembling hand, jukebox bleeding low. I've outrun towns, I've outrun love, but the mirror won't let go. I wore my pride like a tailored coat, cut sharp, stitched tight with fear. Every I'm fine I ever spoke rang hollow in my ear. I built my throne from stubborn bones, sat tall above the doubt. But kingdoms made of loneliness eventually cave in and out. There's a courtroom in my quiet where the jury's made of scars, and every verdict whispers, you are who you are. When the mirror speaks, it don't lie soft. It don't care what you've survived. It names the cost of every cross you carry just to hide. It says you're more than the mask you keep, more than the nights you can't sleep. When the mirror speaks, I loved a woman brave enough to hold my shaking hand. She said you don't need to be a fortress to prove you're still a man. I watched her faith grow tight and thin like smoke against the rain. I thought control meant safety, turns out control was pain. I've shaken hands with younger ghosts, men I used to be. They ask me what I'm fighting for and what I'm trying to flee. The road is long, the road is mine, but running's not the same as choosing where you stand at last and calling it your name. If mercy starts with honesty, then let it start tonight. Let the low notes of my baritone carry truth instead of might. I don't need to win the war I waged against my past. I just need to face the glass and let the silence crack. When the mirror speaks, I'll listen close. No whiskey to defend, no shadow talk, no hardened jokes, no story I pretend. If I'm built from dust and doubt, then let that be my creed. A man who faced his own reflection and chose to finally be. So here's to the glass and the gray-haired man, to the miles and the mistakes, to the voice that finally trembles when the silence breaks. I ain't spotless, I ain't weak, I'm just done being asleep. When the mirror speaks, I speak.